3, 2, 1.
We're live. We're live. Hi, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Hopefully you can see me. If you can see us, because this is new to us today, and you can hear us, can you just somebody type in the comments so we can see on the live chat that we are actually live, because it's new to us, this. So just to see if someone's made a comment. Waiting. Can you see us? Yes, we are live. Good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Don't need any more. Right. Good to see you, folks. It's quite nice to be sort of live to people because it's kind of a different energy to it, isn't it? And we've got lots of questions I've seen coming in here. Some quite complicated ones. And I suppose, you know, the question that's coming up, well, the questions that are coming up inevitably on all the comments and everything like that has been about this coronavirus, hasn't it, really, Jane? I mean,
I think at this stage, don't panic. The end of the world isn't going to be the end of the world, though we might feel we're on the edge at the moment. I just feel be sensible, because remember, our grandparents and our forefathers all had to come through a war and they survived, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, Joan, your mum, I mean, the things, and my mum as well, the things they went through, and it was through their whole childhood and right into their young years, wasn't it? I mean, completely under duress. And I suppose one of the things that's coming out of this whole crisis really is the whole thing that people are kind of coming together a bit more, you know, in a sort of way. I mean, massive selfishness out there as well from some people, isn't there?
Well, it's showing humans at the most greediest, selfishness and discarding the old people. I think the old people, they come through the Second World War, and I think we should all pull together as a community worldwide and look after our elders. The Chinese certainly do.
Yeah, they do. I suppose they
do.
Eastern people do tend to look after their elders a lot more. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a worldwide shortage of loo roll, because here in the UK it's been completely stripped to the shelves, and that really is pretty selfish, isn't it? Really?
Well, you can always use the flannel and soap if you run out.
Yeah, or the Indian method.
Flannel and soap.
But
and wash it.
Yeah, so I've talked to people a lot about my thoughts about what's going to happen with this virus, Jane, and I know you know some of the things that I've said, but from your point of view, I mean, you know, because those that haven't, but some of you've met Jane already online, but a lot of you follow the channel and see me an awful
gorgeous lot. Aren't
I? But I've obviously given my thoughts, and Jane knows some of them, but
not all of them.
No, that's what I say. I only know a few of them. So what do you think about? Do you think this epidemic is going to see an end, and if so, when? Because that's one of the questions you're all asking.
Yes, it will. It will literally die itself out. It literally will. But there's another one coming as well. That's what worries me. The second one that's coming.
And do you think that's a second phase of this
yes,
one,
I do.
or is that a separate one?
I think it's just the dead end of this one, and that because I just feel that it will suddenly die out. And I believe it was made in a laboratory and it escaped.
Yeah, so you thought that independently of me, because I've been saying that. And I think general public opinion kind of thinks that. But is that kind of self-evident, or are we getting that psychically? Because I've always felt, well, I wrote that back in 2017. I said that there was going to be a huge, because I was making the long-term predictions for the Sun. I put up a short little, silly little video about the Sun's headlines that said things I've got right. And it's basically... it came about, and I didn't think it was going to be this year. Really, I thought, no, I can't say virus again. I can't say it again because I said it already, you know. And then bang, it's completely turned everything on its head for everybody.
Well, if you think
I said I thought it was from a lab at that time.
Well, if we go back 100 years and we think of the London plague, and that seems to go all through different centuries and plagues, and they eventually all come through it, don't they? So you've got to think positive. And if you're in isolation, it's a good time to read a book, watch movies, exercise, and
yoga, meditation.
Absolutely.
No excuses. You've got
Painting,
plenty of time for that.
DIY, DIY.
And reproduction for some of you. But yeah, so do you think, I mean, people have been asking another thing. There's been a lot of debate on the comments on the videos about whether was this deliberate?
Well, many people point the finger at the Russians and Chinese people because they might think the Chinese people wanted to take over the world, the economy. You can't really say that. There's another thing that it could be German warfare to try and make a third world war. There is not going to be a third world war, not in our time, I can assure you.
Yeah, well, I don't think there will be a third world war either, although I think there will be major conflicts in the Middle East, and I think they're coming up this year, because I've said that in some of my predictions already.
Well, there've always been
Do you
conflicts.
feel the same?
There's always been conflicts in the Middle East.
Yeah, but this time what I've said is I feel that Saudi Arabia and Iran are going to battle it out, and that's going to draw in others.
Well, there's another view that this could be a testing time worldwide, because you look at nature's coming back. What's happening in Italy, where there's fish going back into
well,
Venice.
it could even, this virus could even be natural. It could be nature fighting back to us. This is another thing I've risen.
And another theory, people think, is it coming from outer space?
Yeah, and others say all sorts of other strange stuff. That is it caused by 5G network, which I don't hold with any of that. You know, I think people get carried away. But actually, there's a really important question that keeps coming up here. Did Jane like the dress I brought her back from?
Who said that?
Someone said it there, and I've seen it on the videos. Did you like the dress I brought you back from India?
Yes. You only bought one. You should have bought 5.
Yeah, they were cheap enough, weren't they? Yeah. But like when I was there, for example, I did go and see Sharavana Baba. Now, he's a really nice guy. But we've had quite a lot of interesting experiences with him. Now, I'm not telling everybody go out and start following gurus and things, but he was quite extraordinary, some of the things he said. And he used to go into these trances, and he went into a trance. The one of the most interesting ones when he went into trance of Kali, you know, and they had these strange men come in with these hooks and things that came in, these people from the Kali temple. And he started talking about 3 waves of the virus. He goes into a trance. He speaks in the local language, which is Mali, I think it's called, and in Kerala's language, you know. And
Tamil, isn't it?
No, it's not. Some people speak Tamil there, but it's Malaya or something like that. I can't remember. Malaya. It sounds like the country Malaya. And he said there would be 2 more viruses. He said more viruses. That's
interesting.
You know, and I don't know whether that is 2 more phases. That's how I felt with it. There'll be 2 more phases to this.
Because with viruses, you need another virus to kill it and wipe it out. So
well, I saw it as something that would be a carrier for another one, and I felt it escaped. Although there was all the question of did Kim Jong-il do something with this? Because was there some terrorist thing behind it? Because, you know, you can get into these labs easy enough. I mean, you could get into, you know, and who knows what they could bring out and just release. And it's kind of inconvenient for the Hong Kong revolution, hasn't it? Because that's been stamped on. Because I've always thought that the Hong Kong revolution is going to be big and going to take over China. And I've said in my predictions too, those that follow me will know about that. I said about there being like the democracy we have in Taiwan. Sun Yat-sen would his teachings would be used in the as a model for a new Chinese democracy. And of course, you've had contact with the Sun Yat-sen's granddaughter
yes.
who's come to you many times, and you've had messages from Sun Yat-sen, haven't you?
Yes, I have. And the 3 principles.
And you've been able to prove his connection to her.
Yes. And I've been able to find things, information that nobody would know.
In fact, you found, didn't you? You found a vast fortune.
$27 million.
$27 million, was it?
And there's more.
And she found that through Sun Yat-sen helping her.
That's from Craig's talking about from the other side.
Yeah, the spirit world.
Yeah.
I'm trying to kind of feed you things so you can talk about it a little bit.
Well, I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. But this isn't the end of the world. This is being a test. This is being sensible and things, and like all bringing us together. And you know, all these professional people, nurses and doctors, I mean, they could go down like flies, couldn't they, Craig? But they're doing the very best at the moment. So positive energy, And the supernatural world is helping behind the scenes more than you realise.
Yeah, I think the spirit world must be aware of what's going on here. I mean, I haven't had any messages come through when I've done mediumistic readings for people. Have you had anything come through?
Well, all I got through is that if the world all meditated at 10 o'clock every night, done a visualization, think of this virus and think of attacking it with your mind to clear things and positive.
In fact, that's a good idea. I mean, I know that a number of the Reiki healers have been out there suggesting that you send healing thoughts to the virus itself, you know, because I mean, a virus is attacking life. So if you send a healing thought to the virus, they say that would kind of neutralize it, because it's kind of positive energy is going to it.
Well, think of yourself as like a soldier and you're destroying that negative energy.
Just as we might heal a virus in ourselves, wouldn't we? We'd heal it. We might do a visualization to see it being destroyed. So I think there's a very, you know, people forget that thoughts are things. In fact, they're more than things. Thoughts, every thought you have is actually a prayer. It's actually molding existence. It's changing everything.
Every thought that goes out to the ether is positive energy. When people start panicking, it's like willing things.
Yeah. It's almost like we draw it upon ourselves. You know, it's like people have said to me, and I think they've got a point. People have said to me, Craig, when you start predicting these things, are you kind of getting us all to think in a way that it's going to actually attract these things? You know, when you do a prediction, I suppose there's a point to that, actually, because as we think, so we become, but also so the world itself becomes, because everything is spirit, everything is God, everything is the one divine reality, you know, and us sending thoughts into that are seeding future happenings.
And what about the world of illusion?
Well, but it's kind of illusion, but it's not, because it's all us. We are all of it. So, you know, so yes, one way it's an illusion because we get trapped in it, but it's also everything is awakening as well. Everything's the opposite to illusion, whatever that might be. Yeah. So people there from Italy talking to. I'll just have a look at some of the things, because we've got a screen to the side of us here, so I can sort of see some of your comments a bit more. So sorry, I've been missing some of them. We're going to get it set up a bit better for future ones, but
coming in quick and fast.
Yeah, coming in so quickly here.
I like the spirit of Italy, how they're all getting together and singing on the balconies. I think that's great.
I see. I think we've got a few here from Italy.
I think we all should do? Put up our Christmas decorations, put up our Christmas tree, and treat it as a festival time indoors.
Yeah. In fact, this kind of period we're in, where it's kind of static, to me, it's a bit like that period between where you've just had the Christmas celebrations and you've got New Year coming up. You've got time off, but you kind of haven't filled it all. So you're kind of in that period where you've got time and you don't know what to do with it. You know? So maybe think of it as just like an extended Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
It might be better for us, because I think people are going to get really depressed from this. Some people, you know, I mean, it is depressing, and you're indoors. You're not making vitamin D because you're not going outside much. I mean, most people are on lockdown.
It's like the 4 horsemen, what they got in the Bible, coming to destroy the planet.
No, it's not. I don't hold with any of that.
It's not going to happen.
No, I don't hold with any of that. Massive misconceptions with some of that. Some of the people talking about, did Trump get his Nardi? No, he hasn't. So I'm sure you're watching, Mr. Trump. And, you know, we do have your Nardi here. You know, it didn't come through. It's not your Nardi, actually. It's not the Nardi. It's the Brighus Hamita, which is different. It's like an astrological treatise, which we don't find through the thumbprint. We find it in a different way. But yeah, we did find it. So, you know, it would give him some guidelines about what to do to clear his karma. And I thought, if he clears his karma, it clears the world's karma too, because he's got, you know, he's got such decisive powers. So there you go with that.
And I think people are worried about the economy. It's going to crash and everything, but we've got reassurance from our government, haven't we?
Yeah. And there's been a lot on the videos I've done about the royal family, right? And people are asking here about the royal family. I see. Prince William's looking very kingly, someone says. Not a question. Give us some questions, guys, because that's often quite good. who dies with the most toilet paper wins. Yeah. So we got some cards on here, haven't we? And royal predictions, of course. We've been talking about those quite a lot.
Well, the Queen's isolated herself at Windsor
Palace,
as we
I suppose it's easy for them, isn't it, really? But then there's other questions that have been on some of the channels. Actually, just to change the topic a little bit.
We're not doing personal readings.
No, we're not doing personal readings on here. We might do something later on for the patrons, where we'll do some readings just for patrons, because I'm so grateful to all of you who have been supporting what we're doing with this site. You know, and I know some of you have been given a bit of money and you haven't got a lot of money, and that's really kind of you. And it will help us to get this whole energy of what we're doing, try and get it moving. We're going to have a kind of a virtual center. That will be our first step. Just be a room to begin with, but we'll have somewhere where we can set up and have all the cameras set up so we can go straight into doing regular. I want to do online seances. That's one of the things I'm most interested in doing, and that will be interesting. So some of you, particularly the patrons, might be able to come as guests. I've already invited a few. And so that's going to be some interesting stuff. But I was just thinking, just to change topic a little bit, because I mean, all these worldly things are one thing, but there was a question on there about what happens to animals when they die. There was a number of those that came alive on one of the videos I did a while back.
Well, we just lost a little cat that was 15 years old Monday, and they found a tumour in her, and it's very sad when you lose animals, but we do know when that life force comes out the top of the crown chakra and they go over, and we do know that they go to a better place, to the spirit world, and we will see them again. And sometimes these elderly animals go back quite young looking when you see them.
Yeah, I mean, it was very sad because we saw one of our, not Boo, the white one that you've seen on camera often, but Angel. She's a little bit more nervous. She never got on camera much. She was a Siamese, and sadly we lost her a few days ago. And
Monday.
We're still looking round for her and still keep thinking, where is she? You know. And I know it's ever so sad when you lose an animal. It's for some people it's desperate because it's like a child to them.
That's right.
And I've always thought that, you know, we as human beings, we're kind of conscious of being human, aren't we? We're conscious of who we are. And I think a pet, in many ways, is more conscious of being a kind of a personality than a wild animal is. And I think when a pet has contact with the love of a human, and often sometimes the disgraceful behavior of humans, but with the love of human rubs off on them, and I think gives them a greater sense of personality, of self-identity, of an evolution of that thing that hard thing to describe, which is the sense of I or me-ness, you know. And I think when we have pets, what we are actually doing is we are accelerating their spiritual evolution very quickly.
Well, animals all have a sixth sense, of course, don't they? And they do go right into our energy field, don't they?
Yeah.
Because they pick up if we're sad, we're happy. They're very knowing animals. I mean, every animal on God's earth's got purpose being here, even an ant.
Oh, yeah. And I think all animals evolve to an identity. I believe in this idea of what they call, I think it's called metempsychosis, that an old Greek idea, that you kind of reincarnate through different kingdoms of animals until you eventually get human birth.
The Chinese believe that when people are bad, they go over either as a pig or something to hell.
I see, and we must have been picking up there because someone's just lost their collie on Thursday. Collie dog. I'm sorry to hear that for you. I think it's Julie said that. Somebody just lost it on the screen, but that's awful, isn't it? Really.
I mean, even the animals have got to go over on the other side in age.
Yeah.
Haven't they?
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad. It's how they go that we find really upsetting, isn't it?
Jane, what is your routine for connecting to spirit, like when your client is sitting with you just before you begin to read?
Okay.
I hope this makes sense.
Okay. Well, what I usually do, I usually go into a meditation half an hour before a client comes, listening to Sharavana Baba's meditations, and then I send a prayer up to the spirit world, ask who's ever meant to come through. I show people into my spiritual room. I like candles all the way around. I make it quite beautiful for them because most people are nervous, don't know what to expect. And then I sit down and I tell people I'm like a switchboard operator, and the wires may get crossed at times, but then I suddenly hear, and then I focus on that person and I give them what I hear and see and sense and feel, and that. And then time people have left here after an hour, which is quite a long time, they feel lifted.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm just watching the time because the camera might cut off. They think they have an overheat mechanism, and so just in case, if we suddenly disappear,
We
you know
haven't
what
gone
it
out
is.
to the spirit world.
We've not been zapped. You know?
Yeah, and that virus haven't got us.
But yeah, that's quite interesting. Actually, the way I tune in is completely different to you because I sit in. I got that little door behind me that you see the light to. That's my meditation. Yeah, it's a portal to another planet. Yeah, that's my. Oh, yes, in a way. That's my meditation room. So I find I have to always raise my consciousness through meditation, and you would too, wouldn't you?
Yes,
because you are in a different frame of mind.
Yes.
And when you're in a completely different spiritual state actually, because you can get so drained so quickly when you're doing readings. You know, even when you're doing a remote email reading, still you've got to get yourself into that super sensitive state, and it burns you out. I mean, I get burnt out with it sometimes.
Well, we're not using tarot cards or anything.
Well,
like
that's
that.
well, that's all right. That's just interpretation.
Everybody's on a different level, Craig. But we're actually tuning into a higher realm, and we're actually bringing loved ones through. So we don't need tarot cards. I'm not condemning people that use tarot cards, but for me, it works by straight going into the spirit world.
I like some of you, though, doesn't it? Does alcohol help fight the virus? I'm testing the theory.
Yeah. Well, anaesthetise yourself. That's all I can say.
Anaesthetise, yeah, that's great. Is consciousness going to raise in the immediate future? Are we going to live in a nicer society?
Yes, we will.
I think this is actually, and I've said this a lot myself. I mean, you'll obviously add your bit, Jane, but I've said that I believe we're on the threshold of a big leap in human evolution, spiritual evolution. Yes. You know, I mean, we've had all these faculties. Our body's been the same for hundreds of thousands of years in many ways, I think. But something's different about us. We've learned to develop an ability to go to the moon, for example.
Well, don't you believe that darkness has to come before the light must come?
Yeah, well, perhaps. But I think we're at the at the threshold of something. A complete leap. Evolution, you know, and it's more than evolution, but evolution doesn't go gradually. I mean, if you read a guy called Lyle Watson, great read, but he talked about the idea that evolution goes not gradually, it goes in huge leaps. If you think the last 2,000 years, huge leap in evolution, really, from basic society to a technological society. And I think there was huge leaps in the past, in the ancient days, you know, 10,000 years ago. But, you know, I think we're at the verge of a new leap in consciousness. Not everybody all at once. I think individuals one at a time will come to a higher understanding of higher consciousness, which is hard to define. But, you know, I'm seeing it in some people. It's happening. And there's going to be spiritual leaders for good and bad. There's going to be people that are going to jump on this whole development of consciousness. And there's going to be those that are going to be genuinely helping to push it forward. And I think there's a lot of people that are out there that are very sincere at the moment, that are trying to move things in the right direction.
People will know the difference.
Okay, I'll have a look what else we got on here. Have we got some more interesting questions?
Bacteria is what infected is, what's that? It is spread a virus by DNA blood.
I couldn't answer that one.
We're not virologists.
Actually, both the calm voices in this vortex of anxiety and stress with a cough.
You spoke too soon. You spoke
well, let's have an argument. Let's have an argument. But I think actually positive thinking, isn't it? Really genuine positive thinking. Yeah. Not telling you it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. That's not positive thinking.
Just don't be in a panic mode. Just stay chilled.
Yeah.
Just do what you've got to do. Carry on a normal life indoors. You women learn to cook by scratch, and you men. And with children and that, just carry on as normal. We don't want fear mongering. You just got to wash those hands. Soap is very good, as they're stating, and you've got soap and everything, and just carry on. So we want nice positive energy. We don't want people lamas and drama queens out there, do we?
No, I think you've got to find a middle way through life. Life will survive. That's what it's all here for. It will survive. It's survive millions of years. Is this the dawn of the golden age that Sai Baba talked about? I think it is. I think we are on the threshold, like I say.
We've got spiritual masters at the moment, avatars that's walking on the earth plane and showing us the way. So all these things will pass.
I see you put that 4 or 5 times, that question, to make sure I saw it in caps. The whole question about Sai Baba. But I do feel that's the case. And I know those that you know, there's lots of controversy around Sai Baba, but I've always believed him to be true.
We've been there and we've met Sai
You have
Baba.
to go by, with these things, you have to go by your own personal experience.
Absolutely.
The BBC did a hatchet job on him. And I think there was a lot behind the scenes. People, and I spoke to the people that did a hatchet job on him directly. And I knew some of those people. And I knew that they had a bit of a colourful background, some of them. And yeah, you got to, I think in life, when all things, you've got to go from your personal experience. And don't go following, don't go trying to get everybody to tell you what to do. Do what you know to be truth. Reject the whole lot unless it's, unless there's, if it don't appeal to your reason, then throw it out. Everybody wants to be told what to do.
Craig, make me a cup of tea, please.
Well, I know, but I'll resist, won't I? And that's what we should do. I think we've got to find our own, we've got to take a very individualistic view to these things, with the same time understanding that there are also great souls out there that we can learn from. But, nobody's going to do it for you.
I think we would be more frightened in the world, what's happening at the moment, if we suddenly saw all trees destroyed, all burnt, blacked out, and we're looking out the window, we couldn't see birds singing or nature. Then we would be thinking doom and gloom. But if you look out your window, you can see all the robins and everything at the moment. So it's not...
Yeah, someone's asked there, will Brexit be affected by the coronavirus? I think it probably will. Actually, that's my thoughts, and I think we're going to get the hard Brexit. But I'd rather talk about coronaviruses than Brexit. Brexit's even worse than coronaviruses. But there's been an awful lot of. I mean, when you think about it, these last year and more have been a really unprecedented times.
2020 really hasn't been good so far.
I mean, unprecedented times, and the coronavirus pandemic has been. It will stop, the coronavirus pandemic. It will stop. But I think it will re-flare up again.
Second time.
But I think they'll keep it under wraps the second time, because it won't be that long till we get a vaccine.
Yeah.
Oh, and it will be a fair while, December.
The second virus that I saw in my meditations, it was a bit like great big spots and huge spots and weeping spots on the face.
Yeah. And economically, well, we're obviously going to have some serious problems there. I mean, Trump's given out $1,000 to everybody in America, or whatever it is. But that's your own money, isn't it? Really, that's your own money, and it's not really. It might keep things buoyant for a while, and they're doing. I think we'll get through it though, because I think one of the things I thought, why can't the people that are healthy and who would only get mild symptoms from this, why don't they all be put in a hotel and volunteer to have the virus for a couple of weeks and keep them in quarantine, and then they're immune and they can go out and become the helpers for the rest of us who are more vulnerable? Well,
it's not
it's a thought, but it's not as easy as that.
Not as easy as that, because this virus is like an unknown virus,
and it's assuming that we can get immune to it at all.
Yes.
But so far, it looks good that we can get immune to it. So, more Brexity questions.
No, we don't want Brexity questions.
And I know a lot of people...
We've all been bored with that, watching that on telly.
Yeah, we've got too much of that. I think the most important thing for all of us at this time now
is make love, not war.
Yeah, well, I suppose so. Yeah. Or in my case, I was going to suggest mantras, actually.
And that.
Yeah, because I was saying about, in some of my other videos, I talked about the Gayatri mantra and the Lokar Samastar mantra. I just feel that if you can they said in the Bhagavad Gita and the texts of India, which obviously I'm very into India, it talks about the fact that in this time of Kali Yuga, the dark age, which we're coming out of, and moving into a new age. But the mantras or any chanting of a spiritual divine name, it doesn't have to be a Hindu name, it can be a Christian thing. Any chanting of a divine name has a fantastic power. It has the power to change events.
We're all divine inside, really.
Yeah, but the mantra in this era is supposed to be a magical power.
Yeah. And somebody's just said on there, Craig, is this virus meant to wipe out the population? If it's to be true, it's come from a lab, the answer would be yes, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Do you see leadership changes from the virus? I don't think. No, I don't think so. I think the Democrats. People have asked me about that before because I felt Elizabeth Warren would be the leader of the Democrats, and I don't know. I still get a funny feeling she might be. I know it's impossible at the way it stands, but the other candidates may be knocked down by the virus. People with anxiety talking here. Yeah, you see Yvonne there saying my anxiety is crippling me, but that's we got to be. There's another teaching that says that one must be fearless, and the way to be fearless is through acceptance. If we can have massive acceptance, if we can accept the fact that one day we're going to be dead, one day I'm going to be in either a coffin going into a being burnt or whatever. One day that is going to happen to me sometime in the future. So that should give us a sense, if we can accept that, for example, that's level of acceptance, then we can be through this life fearless. If we can accept it, because all fear is based ultimately on the fear of death. That's the biggest fear anybody has. And all the other things are kind of fears that come from insecurity. So if we can embrace the idea that there's no security, we can find security in insecurity, as it were, by accepting things as it is. And fearlessness is a powerful thing. And it's easier said than done, I know, because if I'm going to the dentist, there's that, but then you think, oh, it's all right,
The secret is to let go and have non-attachment to fear. And I know it's very easy. People who've got depression now, because I feel in the 21st century is very hard for some people, and pressure, and to be positive and be with good people.
I know it's all easier said than done, isn't it? But it ultimately, I think we've got to have acceptance of the world as it is, and know that you're being looked after. You are looked after. The divinity of existence. I'm not talking about religion type of thing, but everything is here for the evolution of consciousness. You think what an incredible thing it is to be conscious, that consciousness can not only develop just on a simple level, but can actually get to the point where we can understand the universe itself and have this concept of the I or the no I and all the rest of it. All these things are there because the universe itself is becoming conscious. So the universe is our mother. It's not going to let us down. It's going to help us. It's going to nurture us until we become fully conscious beings. So these things come along with all these terrible things sometimes, perhaps to give us a shake up, to perhaps get us back into a bit more of a spiritual path. And that's the way to a spiritual awakening.
Explain what spiritual is, because people might get confused with religion and churches. Right?
Yeah, it's a difficult word to describe. But spiritual to me is conscious, awake. That's what spiritual is. It's not candles round the bath and being all pampering. That's not spiritual. And it's not having beliefs. No, that's it. And it's not belief systems. It's not believing something so much that you refuse to believe anything else. It's not irrational belief. That's not spiritual. Spiritual to me is embracing existence and trusting your inner experiences and what you know to be true in your conscience. Those are spiritual things.
Intuition.
And it's all about awakening, becoming a fully awake human being. And that's what every one of us are doing, like it or not.
The highest thing to have while you're here is love, of course, and your health and experience and that. Well, everybody's pulling together. Being spiritual is being part of nature. You don't have to conform to any religion, and you do prayers within. It's like you're using your own consciousness, if you like.
Yeah. Another one's asking, how can we improve our own powers of intuition? I suppose that's an interesting question too. I noticed you write in caps, Longfellow.
Oh, that's very good.
But you shouldn't be writing in caps, it's shouting, but it did catch my eye. Okay, you keep banging it. Yes, lots and lots and lots. Yeah. Okay, well, how can we improve our own intuition? We are part rational beings, aren't we? And we're part intuitive beings. But I feel that the way to really know intuition is in, isn't it? It's in. It's living from the inside rather than living from the outside. You know, if we can be focused on the inside, then we are much more at one with our inner self, with our unconscious mind, with our inner self. And that inner self has fantastic power. And that's where intuition comes from. And that's where clairvoyance comes from. It's not out there. It's happening in here. If I want to look into someone's life and they live on the other side of the world when they're doing a reading, I'm not sending my mind out to try to reach out to them. I look into myself and we all connect at the same place where time and space are different within ourselves. So intuition, go in. And the best way to go in is meditation.
That's right.
All right. Now, I'm not going to get any more of those ones all in caps because it's not fair. Talking about Italy's pollution level is down and the canal water is crystal clear in Venice. The fish is back in the canal. What do you think about that? Yeah.
Well, it's nature again, isn't it? Coming back, nature. And I think in Italy they've had some more boars that's gone down the centre of Rome. And
I mean,
things.
The way we are stripping nature is shocking, isn't it? I mean,
building all these houses.
People have got to have somewhere to live. That's quite understandable. But here in the UK, for example, we've started building on the green belt. Now, back in, I think it was the 50s or something, they put the green belt in to stop urban sprawl. And that's why in Britain, we've got a unique landscape. It's been industry has shaped it a lot. But in modern years, the recent years since the war particularly, it's been kept as it is because we've not built on the sacred parts, the green landscape.
The ancient woods.
And the ancient woodlands and things. We stopped. You couldn't build outside of the city limit certain type of things, and you had to get certain. And now they lift all that, and we're putting all sorts of the wrong type of houses in the wrong places. And I'm not saying people shouldn't have somewhere to live, but you start doing that and you wreck it, and they're all the same shoe boxes. I mean, you know, some of the houses, like my daughter's house, it's like cardboard walls, you know, awful. And it's happening all over the world. You see it wherever you go. They're throwing up rubbish. Why can't we build for future generations? When I go to ancient Rome, and I go to Greece, and I go to India, and I go to Thailand, we went to, you see really beautiful temples and buildings that are there centuries old. And we have the technology to build all that sort of stuff for future generations, not new slums for old. Anyway, and I think a lot of this whole problem in the world is, there's too many of us, and we've got to think about yeah, that's right, I'll have to go. But no, we'll have to think about somehow reducing the population. The best way to do that is make poor people more affluent. They don't need to have so many children. And we need to clean up our world, because I mean, you know, it don't take a psychic to know that we're wrecking it. You know,
I would say
we are. I go to India, and you go to see these beautiful landscapes with great piles of plastic bottles. You know, yes. So how do we solve overpopulation? And that's, I think, like I say, we've got to. Poor people reproduce more because they fear that they'll have an old age without anybody to support them. So we need to have some form of universal credit or universal wage of some sort that's international, so that everybody in the world has a minimum amount, so they know they're going to be looked after in some way. And it wouldn't take a big percentage of rich people's money to be able to, and all of us money, to be able to support everybody in some way or another. Nobody should go without water. Nobody should go without medication.
Every child in the universe,
medicines.
Every child in the universe should be fed. Animals are important as well, because, you know, I won't kill a spider or an ant because I know it's a Buddhist thing, because everyone has a right for life.
Yeah, someone saying, how do you feel about cryptocurrencies? I've said this many times in my predictions. Steer away from them. I think that's going to be the biggest safe sea bubble of all. And we're already seeing that happening actually recently, I believe.
We've got a job to see. Well, there's so many people coming in.
Yeah, we've got quite a few online with us
Hundreds.
today. I'm pleased there's so many of you. And again, thank you also to all of those that have been patrons on this website, or this channel rather, because you've been really helping us to allow us to do this, really, because otherwise Jane and I are doing readings 9 to 5 every day, and we got no time to be able to talk to the world out there, as it were. So if you give us some support, it helps us to be able to run this channel.
And also we feed the poor children in India, handicapped children, don't we?
Well, we've been using some of it, not all of it. We've been using some of it to do charitable work, but the main objective is to get a spiritual centre together, which we're working on. And it's going to be very small to begin with. It's just going to be a very simple, probably even a commercial sort of property of some sort, that we can, a unit or something, which we can do live stuff and invite people to come and join in. And we could do some, you know, we might even be able to go 24/7 with this channel.
We will get a bigger centre, and you're all invited.
Yes, and it's all been predicted in those incredible oracles that I wrote about in my book, Messages from the Universe. But yeah, it's all unfolding. Yeah, so you're the right people to head a spiritual centre. Well, yeah, the only problem is I worry about that. Someone says that. I worry about that because as soon as you start getting organised, it all starts to go wrong, doesn't it? Because then you have to have people helping you to do this and helping you to do that. And everybody ends up battling each other and big egos. So I want to keep it as simple as possible if we can, and maybe give the money away in a large part too. So you can see people being fed and being helped. And you know,
and plenty of toilet rolls.
Oh, and also, I guess talking about the patrons again, thank you all of you, because I did mention it. It's coming up in one of my other videos. But when I went to India, we did a homa, which is like a fire ceremony. Now, in India, they do this. It kind of creates an energy to help the world. They did some big ones for the world and did some for the coronavirus and things. But you can also sponsor one. And I sponsored one, particularly to help Mr. Prakash, who was one of the Nadi readers that worked with me, who you might remember had that heart problem. He had to have a heart bypass operation on the Friday, and he only knew about it on the Monday, and he was desperately ill, and he was desperately worried about what to do because he didn't have the money to cover it. And I asked all you patrons if you could contribute, and we set a little, I got them over there to set a little website up, and we raised the money for him to have his heart operation by the Friday. And when we did the Homa in India, that happened to coincide exactly with the time that he was having the operation. So they send their thanks to you, because that means you did some tremendous, you imagine in India, suddenly you've got to have a heart bypass operation. You haven't got the money. You don't know what to do. And he's one of millions in a difficult situation. But it's nice when you feel that you've got a connection with somebody who's helped you in life, and you can help them as well. So thank you all for that. And that was really, really good when you did that, you know. So anything else, Jane?
I'm just going through this.
Vegan. I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian, actually. I personally find that extremely hard, and because I don't make good red blood easily, I have to eat meat. So you do have to eat meat sometimes. People giving cures here for.
That's a nice long fellow. I like that one already.
Long fellow here. You can see him looking on the live chat. Yeah, he's got a lot of good questions. He's really determined to get them answered.
Yeah, I think if we all pull together in this world, we can do great things and really care for each other and look after each other. Most important at the moment is to look after the vulnerable, look after elderly people. As they say, they fought in the war. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for our ancestors.
Will we go into lockdown? Someone asked, and I think yes. I said it in some of my other stuff. I said that London would go into lockdown, and I felt Chicago, I said, would lockdown, and I expect New York will too. I mean, we will have to start sealing this virus off at first. Whether that's going to work long term, I don't think so. But it's a matter of trying to spread it out, isn't it? It's a matter like you know, the karma's there, and we can have it all at once and it can kill us, or we can have it over a long period of time and it's uncomfortable but it don't kill us. And it's kind of the same way I think we deal with this. We get enough people immune, and then protect those that are very, very vulnerable until a serum comes along to sort it out. Will the rest of the UK go into lockdown outside London? Well, I don't think so. Not entirely, but we're kind of in it already, though, aren't we?
Yeah, but I did see the troops, and I was seeing people a bit like Star Wars, all in white suits, going down and monitoring the streets. It will come to that.
Yeah, it might do. But you see that this thing it doesn't kill everybody. It kills the vulnerable. Mm. So, I mean, really, as they're saying, as the politicians are saying, and they're right for once, you know, we got to look after each other, and we got to do this with a spirit of togetherness. And isn't that a spiritual revolution?
Absolutely.
Isn't that a spiritual revolution? Because it's been such a me society, and so selfish a society, that it's about time we started to look in a different way, you know. And it's you know, it's sad to see human freedoms being having to be taken away. But if it's for the common good, it sounds like Hitler, doesn't it? But if it's for the common good, then it has to happen.
Yeah, but then look at another way. In the Second World War, the children all had to be farmed out, didn't they?
Yeah.
Evacuees.
I mean, it's about time.
And they didn't have counselling, and people were rationed, and they could only have like 2 ounces of margarine and meat, and they got through it. I mean, we can all sit down and watch Netflix and do things like this, so it's not as bad as they were. Yeah, and there's people dying all the time in some countries from just the water you drink. Absolutely. Let alone a flu virus that kills just a few people. So we're getting a taste of what a lot of the third world are having already, aren't we? Yeah, we'll come through this definitely.
Will gold and silver go down or up? Gold and silver will go up. I've said that already. It's just. We have toilet rolls, someone says. Yeah.
Well, good for you. Use them.
Use them, yeah. Yeah.
Rely on each other, that's good.
Yeah, so getting a lot of similar sort of questions. People asking about regional things and things like Northern Ireland, will it be hit and things like that.
Ireland,
I think the whole world's going to be hit. I mean, when I was in India, someone
said
to
when
Sharavana said about the virus going to hit, they said, where will it hit? Where will it hit? And in trance, he kind of almost spat at the person, saying, "Does it matter where it hits? It's all humanity."
That's true.
And I thought, well, that's a pretty interesting thing, because you know it is. It's will it hit me? We worry, but you know, if millions die in Africa, we're not that worried about it because it's somewhere else, and you know they're different people to us. You know, you've got to think of it as only one. There's just one humanity, you know, there's one world. And I think these things help us.
Well, all is as one.
And I remember when Peter Close, who taught me, he was the brother of Brian Close, the cricketer. And Peter Close was my teacher first off with mediumship. And he was a police sergeant and things. And he used to go into trance sometimes. And this is going back in the early 80s. And I used to ask him about the future of the world. And I asked, and one of the things that came up, and he talked to, I mentioned this before, but he mentioned about Iraq and Iran and and North Korea. He said, these will be the countries that give the world trouble, but they won't cause a third world war. But he said that there will be big troubles. And he mentioned then also about plagues and things like that happening, which all seemed a bit far-fetched then. But he said these things will not destroy the world. They will bring the world together. So really, that is the thing that brings all these troubles are become troubles for all of us, not just for one nation or another nation. You know, if any one country gets destroyed, it affects us all. A little country like North Korea, a tiny little place like that, can cause worldwide havoc. You know, we're all connected now. And I think that's the way it has to go.
You don't need control people like that, do you?
Will we go into a major recession? I think we're. I mean, I didn't predict that in my 2020 predictions. I must have got it well wrong, because I think we're going to have to, aren't we? There's got to be. But I think you know. But I said originally that it would go. That the finances would be kind of like a big bounce up and down. Big drop followed by a big steep climb again. I mean, once everybody knows it's all right again, the stock market will shoot up. Some people are going to make millions from this, but it's knowing when we get the all clear.
Well, we've got earth, air, water, fire, and this is happening now.
Can spirits get ill? No. It's an interesting question, but no, because when people, when they go to the spirit, shed their physical bodies, so the physical body has been taken off like an overcoat, like Jane says there, you know, and you don't take those physical things into the spirit, but you do take your karma, which you will then bring with you into your next life, because I believe you reincarnate again after a long period in the spirit world, a period long enough to resolve everything about this life that we've had now, and then you will you'll have a second life, but you will take your quality of your body will be determined by your karma you bring into this life. What are your thoughts about mushrooms?
No, what's your thought by time is non-existence and
magic mushrooms? You're obviously talking about their
we're not
shrooms.
Going to talk about
why not?
Crap.
I think they're okay. I mean, they're natural. I don't have any big problem with people taking them. I think that people that take them in microdoses and things, that might help them, but ultimately they can't really push your spiritual evolution. They can give you a glimpse, but they can't.
Drug, aren't they?
They're not hallucinations. They show you a reality. I understand it as, but they don't progress your spirit enough. You come back to where you were before. So we've got to work on ourselves all the time to open our perceptions and open our consciousness. And so ultimately, if anybody gets involved in that, ultimately you have to put it aside. I mean, read Baba Ram Das, Be Here Now. I mean, I feel he really did really nail it with what happened with all that type of thing and what you should and shouldn't do with it. And you know, ultimately you've got to take our own consciousness ourselves rather than rely on something else. Yeah, there's lots of so many comments coming in. It's a bit hard to read them.
They've got thousands.
Vitamin C is working. I don't, you know, these things about all these things about take huge quantities of vitamin C for the coronavirus, have an alkaline diet. You know, I mean, I think you've got to take a lot of this with a pinch of salt, you know. So there you go.
Thank you, my friend. That's from Stevie on. Please let Jane talk. He does.
Yeah, go on then. Off you go.
Do.
Yeah, I do talk a lot.
A lot? Gosh. You could talk the legs of a hind donkey, couldn't you, in Ireland?
Okay, I'm going to be quiet for a bit. I'll let you talk.
We'll see how long, shall we? You can be quiet. Shall we test him?
Oh, I could be difficult.
Yes. I really want to say again, don't panic what's happening around the world. It feels like we're on the edge. It feels so surreal, like we're in a movie at the moment, that you see all these movies with all these diseases and that, but it's not going to end. There is hope. Through the darkness, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And as we're speaking this moment, I know scientists are working on remedies and things, but it does make you wonder if there's not other things that are falling from space as well, which I feel there is, don't you? I'll allow you to talk.
All right, you've run out. Yeah, another interesting question there. What do we take with us when we leave this body and go to the spirit world? I think that's an interesting question. Yeah, does memory persist? I mean,
your perceptions, memories, consciousness.
See, in the East, they say it doesn't. What the Eastern teaching kind of says is kind of a quality goes on into the next life. You know, Ramana Maharishi said things like this. But from what I've worked as a medium, and like I say, you can only go by your own personal experience, memory persists. Everything that we know ourselves to be persists into the next world. We wake up in the spirit almost with the same knowledge of what we are now, but things are a bit different. Time is different. The world is different.
People say, how long will this virus last? I feel it'll take a good year we got A1. I just feel May we'll see a turning point, and then we've still got to safeguard ourselves.
Jane, will the EU lose other member countries? Because I've spoken a lot about that on my videos.
Well,
what do you think?
They will follow one another, won't they?
Like what?
Don't ask me. I'm not a politician.
So you don't have any feelings about that?
I'm not really interested in that. What I'm interested in people and people being alive at the moment. Was that Michael, what's his name, that was of the EU? I believe he's got coronavirus. That one that was the leader of the EU. But in the committee one, I saw that he's actually got coronavirus. What was his
I
name?
can't remember now offhand. I'm not sure you're referring to.
Yes, you are. What's that?
Will we run out of food?
I don't think so.
Is it safe to stay in New York City?
Well, it depends. Is it safe to stay anywhere, is it? It's up to the individual.
Will Trump win easy or close? I've spoken about that a lot. What do you think?
Well, I think he's going to stay in power for a while.
You think he'll get a second term?
Yes, don't you?
You saw the Nardi oracle that I wrote. We can't give the details.
There's lots of things that we want to reveal at the moment, but you'll all be okay.
Yeah.
I thought somebody's put there, what's it? Something about love, sex. Oh, we don't want to know that, do we?
People are given cures to my cough. I do cough quite a lot, but that's not because I have bad lungs.
He's an ex-smoker.
I was, but I also have a hernia, which makes acid come up. I get reflux acid, yes. There's nothing wrong.
So,
all they do is bombard the public with fear. Well, there's a dark energy in the world because of that. You know that you are right with that.
Yeah, and it needs really correcting and think positive all the time. If everybody worked together and don't keep rushing to the supermarkets, getting loo rolls, getting all pasta and stocking up and things like that, you should share, shouldn't they? Because these poor people, you went today to go and get some, but these people working in shops are exhausted because they haven't got the time to stack up the shelves. As soon as one order comes in, it's like locusts have been in the shop.
Some of those have got elderly relatives in our local place. Someone there asking about what we're going off on all sorts of topics here, but this is our first time. We'll probably be a bit more honed down in future. But someone asking there, what's your views on on extraterrestrials?
I believe there's another life force. I believe there are aliens.
Oh, I see Dom's online, Domenico. There our cameraman.
Don Juan.
Yes. And don't forget to subscribe to his channel as well.
The Italian Dad.
The Italian Dad on YouTube, because you get a lot of behind the scenes stuff of our family too, because he puts up there a lot of stuff with us and our grandchildren and things, and it's not quite as dramatic as this channel that you've been following, but it's some really interesting stuff. And he's done a really good one recently on ghost photographs. I mean, it was a really well researched piece of video, and go and have a look at it. I'll put a link in the comments below on this video, but if you check out the Italian Dad,
the spiritual godfather.
I think there's another Italian Dad type one on there, so you might want to put Italian Dad photography or something if you're doing a search, because that will help. You'll find his photography ones first. But the Italian Dad, okay, and it's a great one on there on ghost pictures. And actually, good topic. What do you think about ghost pictures, Joe?
Well, I think, some of these orbs aren't real because there's dust in the camera lenses, but there are ghosts, and I believe in ghosts, and I believe that these entities are trapped between the two worlds and that. And if you can catch them on camera, it's amazing, because sometimes people can't accept that they're trapped in the two worlds, and there might be unfinished business that they've left behind here. And it's like, people like, I've known people take shots of graves at night, and there's been like a wisp of smoke where someone's ectoplasm like that suddenly building up, and there's no way that somebody could have. That's a spirit. That's the person's spirit. Yes, though, isn't it? So, but it's still ghostly form, and I believe there are people that are trapped here, and I believe there are ghosts, and that. So trapped spirits. Yes. You accept the idea that people are clinging to this earthly plane, and would be what you would call a ghost. Well, and I do believe sometimes ghosts do help people. And spirits? You see, I see the two things as different. When we die, we go to the spirit world. We're spirits. I'm not going to get through this without coughing. I've had a long cold, actually. Don't think we've had the coronavirus, but we've both been quite bad. Is that the hungry virus? I've had the hungry virus. Is that that one? Definitely had that. No, your spirit. When you're born as a baby, your top of your head, that fontanelle, is open, and then it closes. And I believe when you die, that opens up again, and the spirit goes through the top of the crown, and the outline of your body, you see a very fluorescent green and bright light. I've seen that leave the body, and it's the most amazing thing. And I just feel like places that are haunted, they're very real. Very real.
So you believe that idea that there is kind of like a trapped earthbound spirit?
Yes.
Yeah, that book 30 Years Amongst the Dead, that was a really spooky one. Did you ever read that?
No, I didn't.
Another good book to read, 30 Years Amongst
I've got no interest to read it.
Oh, that's a really weird book. They're written in the early days of spiritualism. There's a lot of ideas. I mean, I think there is also a massive amount of misconceptions with the whole thing about ghosts. I mean, I do not hold with these ghost programs that have been on television, which are absolute nonsense, most of them, and they're just playing on the sort of fantasies of Hollywood, really, and jumping at shadows, basically. And the less we have of that, the better, in my opinion, and get some real spiritualism out there.
Well, we are in the 21st century. People are showing us how to be greedy, materialistic, and something has got to happen. And I believe karmically, this is why we've got this virus that's out there to change people's perceptions of the world, because people really are wanting bigger houses, bigger cars, money. And some people, they live their life just making money, but they can't take it with them, can they?
Yeah. Some people say that, I mean, this is an old concept that goes back, again, it's in the Indian teachings as well as in Western ones, that a virus is actually an evil spirit, that it's something that's broken through from the elemental levels. An old idea. I mean, probably nonsense, but it is a bit like that, though, isn't it? It's a bit like something that's trying to destroy life, the negative side of existence.
I think people will become more spiritual, and I feel people will be really into mind meditation and really sort of think deeper thoughts and everything. I mean, we haven't got all the answers in the universe at the moment. One day we may wake up and get all the answers.
Someone here also talking about Baba Vanga.
Oh, yes.
And she was a pretty amazing woman. And one of her predictions said that Europe would be empty. I don't know that one, actually. I haven't read all her stuff. And you've got to watch it with Baba Vanga's stuff, because there's a lot of fake stuff on the internet.
Worried about your cough?
Oh, don't worry about my cough. It's fine. But Baba Vanga is really interesting. But the problem is, if you start looking at all these different predictions from all these different people, you could probably pretty much have every possible catastrophe happen. So I don't know. I mean, I don't read other people's predictions deliberately, really. Because, well, they all come and pinch mine off the site, I know, but I don't, because I think I don't want to be influenced. I've got to get something. It's got to come completely, totally out of the blue, unexpected. And if it's contrary to what others have said, that's fine. But it's got to come like that. Otherwise it could be coming from my own imagination. And that all psychics should work like that. Not read each other's and then repeat and copy each other's predictions, because then you end up with a complete load of misconceptions, because every other psychic said it. Yeah, because every other psychic's copied every other psychic.
Yeah, but
alleged psychic. Anyway, I'm off on my high horse there talking about others. I shouldn't do that. Okay. Are we entering a period like the Great Depression? I don't think we'll go that far somehow. My feeling is we're going to pull out a bit.
I think the Bank of England, they know that, and they don't want people, because if the economy goes, the whole world collapses, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then we start going into where people are pilfering, stealing things and that. So, it creates wars, and they're not going to do that. Does
black magic exist, and can ghosts hurt you? That's an interesting question.
Well, the Indian people believe in black magic and hexes and everything and curses, and that goes back centuries. And there are dark forces. There is the underworld, very real. There's the different dimensions here. We're in the physical world. There's the underworld, and there's the higher world. So yes, it does exist.
Yeah, I believe in black magic as such, but obviously not. I mean, with that, I don't want to knock all the pagan religions, because there's a lot of good pagans out there, and magic itself is a good thing sometimes if used correctly. Sending negative thoughts to people, that's a kind of black magic, isn't it? Can we do things like that? Yes, why not? I mean, a curse is something that a person will carry through
Someone
different lives.
Satan, no such person as Satan.
No, I agree that.
There's no such person.
That's a nonsense.
That's a made-up thing. There's no such. We can all be good. We can all be bad. We weren't born bad. It's something that human nature takes over.
And I mean, I also would argue that there's no such thing as Satan, and there's no such thing as God as a man in the sky either, you know, because both of those are misconceptions. So when people say, do you believe in God? I have to say to them, it depends what you mean by God. If you mean a man in the sky, I don't agree with that. If you mean some sort of person, some force outside of me that's going to judge me, actually, I don't believe in that either, because everything is God evolving. It's all God, including me and including you and including even the bad guys, because all of it is God evolving. So God is like the Abraxas. It's both good and bad. It has both in it, but it is ultimately all evolving to awakening. So that's my view of it.
Well, we're all gods in our own way, inwardly and outwardly.
Yeah,
God is an energy.
It's always a difficult topic, that, because there's so many misconceptions.
A lot of people believe that God was an astronaut, don't they?
Well, I mean, you can argue that as well. And I had all those arguments with Richard Dawkins. That was a real fun sort of thing. That was, goodness gracious. I was really prepared for him, though. I think I shook him because he thought he was going to wipe the floor with me, didn't he? And I think we ended up with a stalemate, really. But again, he had editing rights, so he couldn't show the whole thing, which was a nuisance. Can you predict when the Chinese Communist Party will go to hell? Well, I think it's coming around soon, and I think that, you know, we forget that China's is a democracy run by a communist party. You know, I mean, it's an odd way to be. It's going to go. It is, and I think it will. I mean, China's not all bad, of course, because there's some good people there, and they're just like you and me. We're all ordinary people, but it's the organizations behind it, isn't it? And communism, I don't think is a bad thing in the right form. I mean, it's been, you know, I mean, I read Marx and Engels and things, and I thought it was a brilliant utopian sort of way of looking at the world, but it don't work because it encourages laziness. So anyway, I think we need a new form. I mean, talking politics, we need Bennett, something different.
We'd love to. Excuse me, yeah. Judy Bennett said, "Would love to see you two make a movie." I bet Craig would like to make a movie.
Well, we will. I tell you, help us with patrons. I mean, we made Mystic Journey to India. That is our movie. If you've not seen Mystic Journey, go and see it. And we made a TV series, which is on our channel here, which is the Psychic Family. So we did a whole, but it was, we couldn't make it ourselves. So there's a bit of silliness in it always, you know, silly music, and here they come again, the Psychic Family, you know, Adam's Family type thing, which was a nuisance, but that's always TV for you, isn't it? But we will make some more, Jane and myself, as a movie. We want to do one, actually, and if the patrons do this and help us with this, one of the plans is to take the whole family, including Domenico and the grandkids and everything, and for us to go to all the spooky places around the world. So we might probably start off with Italy, because Domenico knows all the spooky places in Italy, and then maybe do some demonstrations of mediumship and clairvoyance as we're going around, and do readings for people and things like that. It'd be a fantastic movie. But we obviously got to have quite a lot of money to do that, or a backer. There's a big backer out there.
Our life is so different. One day we might be here just doing readings or doing what normal people do, gardening and that, and the next day we get a call from the States to travel to Beverly Hills to see Eric Robinson. Is that Eric? Julie Roberts' brother? Yeah. Eric Roberts. And these are just normal people. And why shouldn't they believe in spirituality and people come through and that? And we don't go sort of all gaggy all over them because you think they've been in the movies. That they're just normal human beings acting, playing Let's Pretend. And they're really down to earth. Well, it's true.
It is. They're just
true. And, you know, really, really sweet person and that. But I don't know why some of these psychics think that, you know, they say, oh, I've seen this celebrity, that celebrity. If it makes the clairvoyance much better, it's got nothing to do with...
It's not really a recommendation, because celebrities are all about...
Z-ones we've got.
Oh, we've seen thousands of celebrities. Well, not thousands, but we've seen quite hundreds, I think.
And we've also
travelled... And A-listers.
Yeah, we've travelled with a royal correspondent, and and people, secretaries and that, to New York, to Paris, and we can prove we've done that. Ours isn't just hearsay.
Actually, I'll tell you the ones that really annoy me are the mediums out there that will channel famous people, but without any recipient there.
Without any proof.
So there's no proof to it. I mean, mediumship particularly has to be evidential. It has to be proven. You know, the person has to be able to take the information and say, yes, that's my nan, because yes, she did that. Yes, she was buried with a blue teddy bear. Yes, she had 3 rings on her finger when she passed. Yes, she did own a pub called the Crown. You know, I mean, you've got to give facts that can be that the person can say yes, yes, yes to.
But isn't it a wonderful gift that others on the other side can actually communicate? They will pick out the person, the medium they want to work through. And the best thing is for that person not to tell the medium anything, let it come through naturally, and you get evidential proof, names, how that person passed, birthdays, anniversaries, and what they've been doing in the physical world. That's evidence and proof.
And I think when you go to theatres, I mean,
don't let me finish.
Look, carry on then, because
am I allowed
just
to?
going to say about something.
Well, you know, you keep cutting into me, and you know, there's so many out there that are saying, "Oh, what a lovely gentleman, a lovely lady." That's not proof. You've got actual proof of things. I mean, Craig and I was born like I was born, like I'm sure everybody else was, but we were born with a gift. So we use that gift and use it for the power of good and to help others. So we've dedicated our life to this. And I used to be a nurse, a psychiatric nurse, very useful sometimes, meeting people, and a sick children's nurse. So I can see the other side of suffering and what people go through too. And it's been my experience as a nurse when actually seeing people before, when they're on the bridge of passing over, that a loved one comes for them, and it's the most incredible, beautiful thing. And you wouldn't be frightened of death. You can see bliss in that person's face and everything. Now I'm allowing you to talk, Craig.
That's all right. I was only going to comment on psychics and how you've got to watch out for things nowadays, because I'm afraid there's an awful lot of people out there that believe themselves to be psychic who aren't, and there's a number out there that are cheating big time, big time, and it annoys me. And I think when you go to theatres, don't give your name on the ticket, because if they know your name and they know the seat number and they've got some way of being able to hear information, then they're not doing mediumship. And don't put, if you put questions on bits of paper that mediums are going to pick out of a hat and say something, put fake information on there and fake photographs and test these people, because mediumship should be, if you want to see mediumship, go to a spiritualist church. I mean, they're really old fashioned and they're a bit jumble soulish, but
there's some good mediums.
Yeah, there's some great ones, but they need to wake up. But you will see a proper mediumship there, good and bad. But you know, that's where you sit, because there's no cheating can go on there. There's no money involved. Well, I mean, we did it for years and years and years, and we never took any money for it.
The late Doris Stokes, I mean, she was one of the world famous mediums, and she just enjoyed it so much. You didn't see her with earpieces on or anything, just a microphone there. And I mean, she really was fantastic. She was like everybody's granny. And Doris Collins was very good, the medium there. There were many old mediums, very, very good. But now we're getting people suddenly coming up, I'm a medium, and that, as if it's bringing
and they've not
fame.
Even heard of the great mediums. I mean, we modelled ourselves, I suppose, on the great mediums. I mean, Gordon Higginson was another one that spiritualists, older spiritualists will know about. I mean, he used to give evidence and information that was absolutely mind-boggling. He used to say to people, you know, open your purse, and the woman would open her purse and she'd say, add the money up, and she'd add it up, and she said, you've got £14, 3 and 6 in there, you know, and she said exactly the amount and things like that. And he would know names, first names, streets, you know, and we get that sometimes, but not to the extent that and level that he was able to. He's a physical medium too, and could have ectoplasm.
Maybe he was, Craig, but we still give our very best. It doesn't mean because you're head of a spiritualist association in Stansted that you're the best medium in the world. So no. There's lots of good mediums.
Well, there was many great ones.
Old.
But the problem is people forget they don't. Mediumship is about evidence. Without evidence, it's nothing whatsoever. It could just be fantasy. It must have proof and evidence in it. Otherwise, it means nothing. And then you can give a message and you can give a prediction, but you've got to give the evidence first.
Oh, Sylvia Browne's book.
Yeah, that was I didn't personally like Sylvia Browne much because she said so many things.
Well, there again, you can't really.
But I can't judge her. I never met her personally, and I haven't read her books actually. So that's a bit of a throwaway line. I shouldn't say that. Someone's pushing the books here, but I'm not going to repeat those. Right. Spirit boxes. No, I don't really think that spirit boxes. That's the thing that has those little clips from radio shows, and then you hear voices in. Don't have time for that, but I did work on the movie White Noise. I've helped with a bit of the research for it. And that movie White Noise was quite well researched, actually. They did an awful lot of work on it. And they interviewed a number of people who really did get some really real results from listening to White Noise and hearing spirit voices. And I think that there is something in that. And you want to look up, I can't remember the name of the author.
No, that's good. How is the spirit world looking at Corona from the spirit world? I think, well, we haven't really tuned into the spirit world about the virus, but I don't feel any fear because, you've got to really tune in. And perhaps if somebody had that virus and then the person on the other side, whoever they may be, a spirit guide, a doorkeeper, a gatekeeper, would tell us. But all I'm getting at the moment, I'm quite relaxed about everything, to be honest with you. I don't feel it's going to be the end of the world.
No, I think people are panicking. You don't need to panic. Well, I think we better finish now, Jane, don't you?
Yes, I think, thank you for tuning in to us. And instead of shaking hands, do this to everybody.
Yeah, namaste. My heart to yours. That's what they say.
Just
do
this.
What it means, namaste.
And you don't have to do it. Even Prince Charles is copying me at the moment. You're going like this. You got the idea from me.
And don't forget, if you've come to this for the first time, because not just the live chats, but onto the channel generally, do follow the channel, and then you'll get the updates. And I'll always send a message out to the patrons first. And if you can become a patron, fantastic. That really helps us. Don't forget Domenico's channel that I talked about. You can go and have a look at that after this, the Italian Dad, and have a look at that fantastic video about the ghosts and things. I really did like that video.
And you can even see pictures, I'm sure Domenico put up, of our grandchildren.
Oh, we got someone there, Damien, and everything like that. So anyway, thank you all for joining us. We're going to go now. Thanks for coming. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye for now. Namaste.
Oh, that's nice. You can send back your cough.
Yeah.